Hi, I'm Daniel with eTrailer, and today we're going to take a look at, I'm going to show you how to install the CURT Overbed folding ball gooseneck hitch on our 2018 GMC Sierra 2500. Now we have a ton of these different ones on the market, and the most notable feature about this one is that it can swing down. So you can just pull this up, swing this all the way down, and you get most of your bed back. You do have this raised platform, but it's a lot better than having that gooseneck sticking straight up. This gooseneck hitch is going to have a 2 5/16 ball, and it will have a total towing capacity of 30,000 pounds, and its vertical load limit is going to be 7,500 pounds, and that's the weight pushing down on your ball in this direction. The safety chain loops on the front are spring loaded, and you can lift them up like this. Now these are pretty difficult to lift up, and some neighbors have explained that when mounting them, they're a little bit close to the hat channel, so it's really difficult to get these in and out. But they still work and do their job. Like I said before, there is a lot of options for in-bed goosenecks, and my personal favorite is going to be the B&W. It's definitely the higher end option, and the quality is very nice. Now, the reason I would pick that is because you don't have this large plate in your bed. That one's actually a turnover ball, so all you really see is that hole, and you can just flip that ball and turn it over, and then you get your full bed access again. So that's one I would prefer. With that all being said, this is going to be a perfectly fine gooseneck hitch, and it's definitely going to get the job done. Now, if you have any questions about fitment, you can check out our fit guide on our website, or give us a call, and we'd love to help you out on which gooseneck ball is going to be best for you. Now, as far as install goes, it is fairly in-depth. You are having to torque some bolts down to pretty high torque values, and you will have to cut out a large rectangle opening in your bed. So if you're not interested in doing that yourself, you can check out our dealer locator. We can find a professional in your area to get this installed for you. But if you want to see how it's installed, follow along and we'll walk you through the process. First off, I've already lowered our spare tires so we can have some room to work under here. Then we have to trim or remove our heat shield. Looks like in this case we can just remove it. So I have a 13mm socket, and I'm going to just get some of these bolts removed. Looks like there was one up front or towards the tailgate, and there's going to be a couple towards the cab. Now on the side, on our passenger side here, there's going to be 2 more bolts on our heat shield. And I'm just going to be using a wrench to get these out. Now with all of our fasteners removed, we can pull this heat shield down and set it to the side. Next, we need to remove this wheel well liner, and I'm going to be using a T15 Torx bit, and I'll start with these 2 in the center. It's going to be a lot more basically traveling along the sides, so let's get these all removed. With all those removed, we can pull this out, and it can be in there pretty good. Just kind of work at it. This is our front cross member, and it's going to be a little bit longer than the rear one. And you want these 3 holes that's going to be facing towards the tailgate. I'm going to push this in under our bed. And as you can see, we're going to have to do a little bit of trimming. So I'm just going to mark where I need to trim this. Just going to start with a little bit, just because I don't want to hack too much away. And I'm going to be using a grinder with a cutoff wheel on here to get this out. Now you can use an oscillating tool if you have one, just anything to cut this cut. Before you get your cross members in, it is a good idea to grab your hardware and to thread this on. And you can just use an impact. I use a 15/16 socket and just ran this all the way down because it is painted and there could be a little hang-ups in there. So you don't want to deal with those after it's already in. And now I'm going to slide this back in. It looks like we're making it. Now I got that on the other side, and I'll just push it forward. For our shorter cross member, that's going to be our rear, and the holes you want to be facing towards the tailgate. Now this is going to go on the other side of our hat channel, so we are going to have to make another hole. So I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm just going to line it up and get this cut out. Now I'll get that rear cross member slid in place. We can install our side plates, and we're on our passenger side still, and the side with the long top section, that's going to be facing towards the front of the vehicle. We do have a short bed today, So we'll be using the holes towards the front of the vehicle as well. And this is where we're going to be lining this up. So I'm going to take this down and we'll fish our bolts through these two holes. I'll take our fish wire, I'm going to bend it just a little bit so I can get through this larger hole. And I'll put our larger spacer block on, followed by our bolt. Get that pushed into the frame along with our bolt. I'll pull the whole thing up. Now I'm just going to push it back just a little bit through so we can get our plate in place. Now this hole towards the tailgate, I'm actually going to put my fish wire through, and there's going to be a hole on the other side of the frame. And I got that coiled in through that larger hole, and I'll do the same thing. I'll get our spacer block on and our bolt and fish that through. Put that block in and our bolt. Get that fished on up. I'll feed our fish wires in through those holes I told you we're using. And get this in place. Now we can get our fish wires off. Now they only give you 2 in the kit, so you do need to save them for the other side. But they can be really hard to get off. Just do your best. Try to unscrew them. Now we can get the nut in place. I'm back under the truck, and I'm going to take our cross members and put them through those top holes in our side plate. Just that threaded part. With those through, we can get our nut on these as well. On the driver's side, I repeated that same exact process. I didn't take the liner out. I was able to get it in. I may have to take these fasteners out later on to tighten and torque everything down, but I got our cross members through the top holes here and all of our hardware on. Under the truck, we need to rotate our cross members so the holes are facing up. And it looks like when we tighten everything down, it already did that. So now we can take our spacer tube. So they just give you a tube, and this is the spacing you need between. So I'll just put this in between. I took our spacer tube and I made sure it was even all the way down, and these were a little bit loose, so what I did was I lightly tightened the hardware on the sides and just made sure I had the even spacing here so it would stay in place. And now I'm going to take an 1/8 inch drill bit and drill up through the center of each of our holes on the front cross member and the rear. Just want to line up, be as center as possible. I got the rear ones drilled out, and you just want to drill out the front as well. There's going to be 3 on either side. I'm up in the bed, and I've located where I drilled those 6 holes, and they give you a template that comes in the kit, which is nice. I've already drilled out the locations where it says A, just so I can see where I can line this up at. And you just want to line those A holes up with those holes we just drilled. So I'm going to get this all orientated. Now I double checked if they're a little bit off, make sure you have that room you can slide those bars. Mine were just a little bit off, so I just kind of cheated them this way, just a little bit. But now I can drill the B holes. So I'll take an 1/8 inch drill bit and drill down into the bed. Just make sure you're not going to hit the gas tank or any wires. With those drilled out, I'm going to take a cutoff wheel and cut out this C section. Got the center section peeled up, and in some cases you will have to cut the hatch channel away. like we do right now, so I'll get this section cut out. Now we can test fit our center section of our hitch, make sure it fits properly, which it looks like it is. And at this point you can line up your holes that you piloted in the bed. And I've already opened ours up. Now it says in the instructions to open up to 21 30-seconds. Now I just used a 5/8 drill bit. That's just 1 32nd shy of that measurement. And I just kind of walled them out just a little bit, just to make them a little bigger. And once you've done all that and you've checked to see if your hardware fits through, we can paint all of our bare metal because we don't want that to rust in the future. So we want to cover that up with something, especially on that hat channel. Just gonna get this all covered. With everything covered, we can put our center section back in place. Before we put the bolts in, I'm gonna go underneath and we're gonna put some spacers in. You'll have these U-shaped spacer blocks in your kit, and you wanna use 2 of them per hole. And we'll just slide this under each portion. And then when we put the bolts through, this will help so it doesn't crush the corrugations in your bed. Now with all of our spacers in, I will go back up top and put all of our bolts through. Making sure not to knock those spacers out of the way. Now we can get our hardware on. Now we can start tightening and torquing everything down. We want to start here at these nuts that are going through the bed. Then we want to go to the nuts that are securing our cross members to our side plate. And we want to tighten the nuts that are securing our side plate to the frame. I did end up removing those fasteners so I can move this liner out of my way to get to these nuts. Now make sure you're torquing all these down to the specs in the instructions. If you don't have a torque wrench at home, you can usually rent one from your local auto parts store. The kit will come with a small U-bolt, and that'll go right here. It'll act as a handle so you can lift this up a little easier. So I'll get that put in, and comes with some nylock nuts that will tighten down. I'm just using a 13mm socket. Your safety chain loops are going to go through these holes here. They give you big U-bolts. And as you can see, I can put that one through, but this one, there's still some bed in the way. So I'm just going to use a drill bit and drill this out. I'm using that same 5/8 drill bit to get this drilled out. Just go right in the center. Once you're happy how this fits in there, I did have to waller it out quite a bit to get this to fit right. You can paint bare metal. We'll get this put in place, and we'll go underneath and put the hardware on. Now on the bottom of those U-bolts, I'm going to put a washer, and then a spring, and then another washer, followed by a nylock nut. Might be helpful to have someone up top pushing down, but it's not too bad. You can grab the other side too. Just get that attached. And I'll do that with all of our threaded ends here. Taking a 15/16 socket and snugging these up. I don't want to go too much, just until really that nylock part of the nut isn't acting on it. So I want these to be able to be pushed up still. So once you have all your hardware tightened down, you can start using your CURT Gooseneck Hitch on your 2018 GMC Sierra 2500.